On the morning of October 5, 1999, two passenger trains collided head-on at over 130 miles per hour near Ladbroke Grove in West London. The crash killed 31 people and injured over 520 others. It was one of the worst rail disasters in modern British history, and it was entirely preventable. At 8:06 a.m., a Thames Trains commuter service departed London Paddington Station, heading west to Bedwyn. The driver, Michael Hodder, age 31, had only been qualified on this route for 13 days. Just over a mile from Paddington, his train approached signal SN109, a red signal that should have stopped him. But driver Hodder passed the red signal. He ran a red light. His train continued onto the main line, directly into the path of an oncoming high-speed train. Coming in the opposite direction was a Great Western Express train, traveling from Cheltenham to London Paddington at about 100 miles per hour. The driver, Brian Cooper, age 52, was experienced and following all signals correctly. He had no warning that another train had entered his path. At 8:09 a.m., just 3 minutes after leaving Paddington, the two trains collided head-on near Ladbroke Grove Junction. The impact was catastrophic. The combined speed was over 130 miles per hour. The front coaches took the full force. The destruction: Thames Train's first carriage was completely obliterated, crushed like aluminum cans. The Great Western Train's diesel fuel tanks ruptured. 700 liters of fuel ignited. A massive fireball erupted, engulfing the wreckage. The front carriages of both trains became an inferno. People trapped inside were burned alive. 31 people died, including both drivers. Most victims were in the first coaches, either crushed in the impact or burned in the fire that followed. Over 520 people were injured, many critically burned or suffering life-changing injuries. The question everyone asked was, why did driver Hodder pass that red signal? Investigation revealed a horrifying answer. Signal SN109 had been passed at red 8 times in the previous 6 years before the crash. It was known to be confusing, badly positioned, and difficult to see. Railway authorities knew it was dangerous, but they did nothing to fix it. This is the story of the Ladbroke Grove rail crash. 31 people killed because a dangerous signal was ignored for years. Part 1. The Trains and the Signal. October 5, 1999. Morning rush hour. It was a normal Tuesday morning in London. Thousands of commuters traveling to work. Two trains were about to collide. Train 1, Thames Train Service. Departing London Paddington at 8:06 a.m., heading west to Bedwyn. 3-car diesel multiple unit. Driver, Michael Hodder, age 31. About 50 passengers aboard. Train 2, Great Western Express. High-speed train from Cheltenham to London Paddington at about 100 miles per hour. The driver, Brian Cooper, age 52, was experienced and following all signals correctly. About 400 passengers aboard. Signal SN109, the killer signal. Just over a mile from Paddington, on the route out of the station, was signal SN109, a gantry-mounted signal controlling access to the main line. The problem with SN109: it was positioned in a confusing location, surrounded by other signals, partially obscured by overhead structures, backlit by the low morning sun, difficult to see. Drivers had reported it was hard to read. In the 6 years before the crash, It had been passed at red, SAPD, signal passed at danger, 8 times. More than any other signal on the network. Railway authorities knew it was dangerous. Despite this, no action was taken to improve it. Part 2, 8:06 to 8:09 a.m. The collision. 8:06 a.m. Thames train departs. Driver Michael Hodder departed Paddington on time. He had only been fully qualified on this route for 13 days. He was relatively inexperienced on this particular line. 8:08 a.m. Signal SN 109. As Hodder's train approached signal SN 109, the signal was red, stop. For whatever reason, poor visibility, confusion, distraction, or error, driver Hodder did not stop. He passed the red signal. His train continued onto the main line. This was a SPAD, signal passed at danger, a critical error. His train was now on the wrong track, heading toward an oncoming express. The Great Western, no warning. Driver Brian Cooper, heading toward Paddington at 100 miles per hour, had no warning. All his signals were green, clear. He was following the rules perfectly. He had no way of knowing another train had entered his path. No automatic warning system, no time to react. 8:09 a.m. Impact. 3 minutes after leaving Paddington, the two trains collided head-on near Ladbroke Grove Junction. The physics. Combined closing speed over 130 miles per hour. Massive kinetic energy. The front coaches took the full force. The destruction. Thames train's first carriage was completely obliterated, crushed to almost nothing. The Great Western train's front coach was severely damaged, telescoped. Metal twisted, glass shattered. People inside crushed instantly. Then came the fire. The fireball. The Great Western train's diesel locomotive. Fuel tanks ruptured in the impact. Approximately 700 liters of diesel spilled. Ignited immediately. Sparks, friction, heat from the impact. A massive fireball erupted. Engulfed the front coaches of both trains. An inferno. People inside the first coaches, those who survived the impact, were now trapped in fire. Some managed to escape. Many could not. Burned alive. Screaming. Part 3. The rescue and casualties. The emergency response. Emergency services arrived quickly. Fire brigade, ambulances, police. Scene of devastation. Twisted metal, fire, smoke. Screams from trapped survivors. Firefighters, battling the blaze, trying to reach trapped people. Extreme heat. Toxic smoke from burning train materials. Heroic efforts. Paramedics, treating injured on site, many with severe burns. Crush injuries, some trapped in wreckage. Triage decisions, who could be saved. The casualties. 31 people died. Both drivers, Michael Hodder and Brian Cooper. 29 passengers, most in the first coaches, either crushed in impact or burned in fire. Some died instantly, others later from injuries. The youngest victim was 19 years old. Many were young professionals commuting to work. Over 520 people injured, many with severe burns covering large percentages of their bodies. Life-changing injuries, amputations, scarring, disability, psychological trauma for all survivors. The survival stories. Those who escaped. smashing windows to get out, pulling others from wreckage. Acts of heroism. Some severely burned but alive. Some physically uninjured but psychologically scarred forever. Part 4. The investigation and the truth. The inquiry. Lord Cullen led the public inquiry into the crash. The key question: why did driver Hodder pass the red signal? The findings. 1. Signal SN109, the primary problem. The signal was known to be dangerous, passed at red 8 times in 6 years before the crash. Poorly positioned, confusing, difficult to see, especially in morning sunlight. Drivers had complained. Railway authorities knew but did nothing. 2. Driver training. Driver Hodder was relatively inexperienced on this route, 13 days qualified. Training was inadequate. He was not familiar enough with this complex junction. 3. Automatic warning systems. The train was not fitted with ATP, automatic train protection. It existed but was expensive. Railway companies resisted installing it. Cost prioritized over safety. 4. Railway privatization. Britain's railways had been privatized in the 1990s. Multiple companies now operated trains and infrastructure. Fragmented responsibility. Safety became secondary to profit. Cost-cutting affected maintenance and safety systems. 5. Previous warnings ignored. Network Rail, infrastructure owner, knew it was dangerous. They failed to act. The blame. Who was responsible? Driver Hodder made the fatal error of passing the red signal, but he was let down by inadequate training and a confusing signal. Railtrack, infrastructure company, failed to fix a signal they knew was dangerous, failed to install ATP, prioritized cost over safety. Thames Trains, train operator, inadequate driver training, failed to ensure drivers were properly qualified. The British railway industry, fragmented, privatized system, safety culture inadequate, lessons from previous crashes not learned. The verdict. The crash was preventable. If SN109 had been fixed or replaced, if ATP had been installed, if driver training had been better, if safety had been prioritized over cost. 31 people died because of systemic failures across the railway industry. Part 5. The legacy and changes. Britain was furious. This was the second major crash in 2 years after the 1997 Southall crash. Questions about railway privatization. Questions about safety being sacrificed for profit. Demands for change. The changes. Following Ladbroke Grove. 1. Train protection systems. TPWS, Train Protection and Warning System, mandated. Automatically stops trains passing red signals. Installed across the network. ATP also eventually rolled out on high-risk lines. 2. Signal improvements. Signal SN109 and similar confusing signals redesigned or replaced. Better positioning, visibility, signage. 3. Train training. Enhanced training requirements. Better route knowledge assessment. More thorough qualification process. 4. Safety culture. Railway industry forced to prioritize safety. Better reporting of near misses and incidents. Proactive identification of risks. The modern railway. Today, Britain's railways are much safer. Automatic protection systems standard, regular safety audits, better trained drivers, Lessons from Ladbroke Grove implemented. But the disaster never should have happened. The memorials. The 31 victims are remembered. Memorial at the crash site. Annual memorial services. Families still campaigning for continued railway safety. Conclusion. On October 5, 1999, two passenger trains collided head-on near Ladbroke Grove in West London at a combined speed of over 130 miles per hour. 31 people died, crushed in the impact, or burned alive in the fireball that followed. Over 520 were injured. The crash happened because driver Michael Hodder passed signal SN 109 at red. Signal SN 109 was known to be confusing and dangerous, passed at red 8 times before. Railway authorities knew but failed to fix it. Automatic protection systems that could have prevented the crash were not installed. Cost was prioritized over safety. The disaster was entirely preventable. Rest in peace to the 31 victims of Ladbroke Grove. You were commuters heading to work on a normal Tuesday morning. You were doing nothing wrong. You died because a railway signal was badly designed, because safety systems weren't installed, because profit was prioritized over lives. You deserved better. You deserved a safe railway. You deserved to arrive at work safely. October 5, 1999, the day two trains collided at 130 miles per hour because a dangerous signal was ignored for years. 31 dead, over 520 injured, all preventable. Never forgotten. The Fear Files posts videos covering the true stories behind some of history's greatest disasters. The channel is made available by supporters on Patreon and YouTube channel members. Huge thanks to everyone who supports this channel. If you found this documentary informative, please like and subscribe to the channel. Your support makes this content possible. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video.